Now on CoastTV News.
The wet pattern continues for Delmarva. We've seen heavy rain overnight. Not as heavy throughout the day, but still a chance of scattered showers and storms into Saturday. And a warm-up on the way as well. Details coming up.
Board ballots counted. 3 school districts in Sussex County had contested races. We break down the results and have reaction from some of Tuesday's winners.
Referendum round 2.
That's a hard one for me to figure.
People in the Indian River School District will decide on another property tax increase to deal with a continuing financial situation.
Wind lawsuit lingers. The potential plan forward in Fenwick Island after the multi-state action was filed in support of the wind farm project off of our coast.
This is CoastTV News Today.
It is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
Elisa, I think I am still drying off from that big-time soaking we had this morning.
We got to work at the same time this morning. We were like, what was that? Because it wasn't raining when I left my apartment.
It had just started when I got into my truck.
It wasn't just raining. It was pouring.
Oh, everything. I was drenched, and I had a raincoat on.
Yes.
And it didn't help, Bob.
No.
I was wet.
No, and good morning, Elisa and Matt. No, when it's pouring like that, it just, doesn't really help. And I had my wipers going full blast and still all the way from Millsboro to Milton. And it was just a downpour. And this is a radar replay showing all that heavy rain that was moving through overnight. Some places picking up over an inch of rain the past 24 hours. I'll have more on that coming up a little bit later on. But we still have the showers from Gumboro to Georgetown, Laurel, Dewey Beach. Not as heavy as earlier. Still a few showers from Salisbury to the coast. And the eastern shore, just a few sprinkles right now. And then heavier rain off the coast of Chincoteague and Ocean City. But the heaviest rain is now moving into the Philly area and into New Jersey as well. But we're not done with the rain yet. We do have low pressure back to our west, and that's going to still pump up moisture throughout the day and give us that chance of showers. We have a little gap to our south and west right now, but I think the rain chances will be building in again later today. Temperatures in the 60s right now. Gusty winds up to about 30 miles per hour at the coast. So here's Futurecast this morning. We have the clouds, and I think we do get that little break and then even some sunshine this afternoon in 70s, but another chance of storms later on. So make sure you have your raincoat this morning. We will see a little sun this afternoon, but the unsettled pattern continues. Much more on the rain and some rainfall totals coming up a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this half hour, we're getting unofficial results from Tuesday's Delaware School Board elections. In the Cape Henlopen School District, it appears incumbent Bill Collick will keep his at-large seat. Collick has worked in education for nearly 5 decades, and he has served as the at-large board member in Cape since 2020. We spoke to Collick just hours ago.
It's a great feeling, having grown up here, having gone to school here, having been in the first graduating class. And then I always say the opportunity to come back and continue the work that you want to get done and see get done. I look at it as a great opportunity to help kids. I still believe that adults need to be supporters of kids in school.
The unofficial results show Collick defeating Chris Lovenguth by more than 2,000 votes.
For Cape Henlopen's District C, it was Patty Mall with the most votes. It was a 3-person race between Mall, Laura Parsons, and Andy Lewis. Mall received about 2,000 votes, followed by Parsons with about 1,500 and Lewis with just over 500. Mall says she's planning to focus big on mental health.
There was one contested race in Woodbridge. Let's take a look at those results from Tuesday. This is for the district's at-large seat. Timothy Banks defeated Latoya Harris. Banks received over 77% of the vote.
There will also be some new faces on the Indian River School Board. Unofficial results show Lisa Hudson-Briggs won the race for District 1 seat, and it was only contested race. For District 2, Jerry Peden Jr. ran unopposed, and Michelle Parsons ran unopposed for District 4.
And happening today in the Indian River District, a public hearing on a second referendum. District officials making another attempt at getting it approved. It'll be back up for a vote on June 5th after being shot down in its first attempt 2 months ago. First of 3 public meetings is today at Millsboro's Middle School. This referendum is asking voters to approve $22.5 million in additional funding to cover operating costs and maintain competitive salaries for staff members. A former employee for the school district says she just cannot wrap her head around the referendum failing the first time.
That's a hard one for me to figure, because to me it just seems so right to improve the schools and not make it harder for them to be improved.
And after today, the second public meeting is Wednesday, May 21st at Lord Baltimore Elementary School. Last one is Wednesday, May 28th at Indian River High School.
This just in, potential next steps in Fenwick Island's opposition to the wind farm project planned for our coast. In just a few hours, the town's environmental committee is having its first meeting since the attorney generals in both Delaware and Maryland filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. The lawsuit argues the executive order to freeze all permitting for both offshore and onshore wind projects is unconstitutional. Fenwick Island was the only Delaware coastal community to join Ocean City in a lawsuit against the Biden administration's approved plans to build that wind farm.
Now taking a live look at Delaware's capital city of Dover. The Delaware General Assembly is back in session again today, and the question surrounding Representative Stell Parker-Selby's absence still stands. Today, in the House of Representatives, the Transportation Committee scheduled to debate two bills that were approved in the Senate. Parker-Selby is assigned to that committee, and prior to the start of this legislative session in January, Parker-Selby made it known she had what she described as a medical event. Her district covers parts of Lewis, Milton, and Harbison.
Happening today in Milford, officials making a case to raise pay rates. According to the agenda, the Public Safety Committee will discuss a pay increase for police captain and 3 lieutenants. This comes after Police Chief Cecilia Ash says a study on staffing and pay scale revealed the job descriptions of those positions were outdated. Chief Ash says the new job descriptions reflect accurate responsibilities and thus a pay increase should be considered.
Also in Milford today, the city looking to convert some open land. This is the proposed design for Deep Branch Park. Milford Parks and Recreation will present plans at a council workshop today. It was back in 2024. The park was part of the Annette Billings eminent domain case. You maybe remember that one. Billings accused the city of trying to take her land for the park. That attempt was later dropped. Parkland no longer includes any of her land, but does include her brother's land, and that was willingly sold to the city. Still, she wants the application for the park pulled.
Well, for one thing, the city of Milford can't take care of what they have already, and then they want to put a park out here that can't be policed by the city of Milford. I find that a problem.
City Council workshop takes place at 6 p.m.
An investigation is underway in Lewis after police say there have been complaints of graffiti in several public areas. According to the Lewis police, this includes along trails and bridges. Police say they have identified 2 suspects through the connection to these crimes.
Today in Dewey Beach, food trucks could be served up some new rules. Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled a public hearing to discuss and possibly vote on regulations for these businesses. Any changes will have to go before Town Council for an approval. Meeting takes place at 5 p.m. Here's our live look at Washington, D.C. The White House. President Trump isn't there because he is continuing his Middle East trip. Again, it's dark in the middle, but that is the White House. Democrats back home are reacting to Qatar's gift of a luxury jumbo jet. In fact, Trump is visiting Qatar today.
As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, the president is touting deals in Saudi Arabia and ending sanctions in Syria.
President Trump meeting with leaders from the Gulf Cooperation Council in Saudi Arabia this morning as he works to strengthen business ties with the region's wealthy states. On Tuesday, announcing the Saudis are set to buy $142 billion worth of American military equipment, part of a promised $600 billion investment in the U.S.
We've launched the golden age of America. The golden age of the Middle East can proceed right alongside of us.
President Trump pushing Iran to abandon its nuclear program while ending sanctions against Syria's new government.
In order to give them a chance at greatness.
At the urging of Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince.
Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince.
Hanging over the trip, major real estate projects the Trump organization led by the president's sons is developing in the countries he's visiting, including Qatar, where he's headed next, with controversy brewing over the Qatari government's not yet finalized offer of a luxury jet gifted to the Pentagon to serve as Air Force One, then transfer to the Trump Presidential Library at the end of his term.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department, and I would say only a stupid person would say that.
A growing number of Republicans raising concerns about accepting a $400 million foreign gift and the costly upgrades needed for national security.
There are lots of issues around that I think will attract very serious questions if and when it happens.
The Senate's top Democrat vowing to put a hold on all judicial nominees until the Attorney General testifies about the gift's legal questions. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Happening this morning, Sussex County's local emergency planning committee expected to receive DEMA updates, including the status of hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant and the latest from the State Emergency Response Commission. That meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. at the Delaware State Fire School in Georgetown.
You're looking at Delaware's Stockley Center, just south of Georgetown. The Department of Health and Social Services is conducting a feasibility study to revitalize the property, which includes 23 buildings, home to multiple state agencies. It will also house Sussex Central High School and Delaware State Police Troop 4. Feedback on the campus's future, including adding inpatient rehab facilities and shelters for domestic abuse victims. You can submit your own comments and suggestions until May 31st. And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Coming up, Chincoteague comeback plan, how the town is relying on history for future improvements.
Also, Blue Line boosts the law enforcement appreciation program that resumes today in Sussex County.
And scam text shutdown, the measures Google is taking to block those bogus texts about unpaid tolls. Coast TV News today is back after this.
5:14 on this wet Wednesday morning. Gateway, Subaru, Cam, and Ocean City showing the water on the lens and a pretty churned up Atlantic Ocean with a strong southeast wind. Here's the rain moving up from south to north, and a lot of that was heavy overnight. Still seeing the rain around Millsboro, Seaford, back through Milton as well. Kind of a scattering of showers near Salisbury back through the coast, but the real heavy rain has moved to the north and is offshore now. But don't put your rain gear away yet, as we will be looking at more later in the day. But you can see that big area of heavy rain moving through Philly and New Jersey right now, but there's a little gap to our south and west, and I think we do have a chance to dry out a little bit during the day. Here's a drive cast this morning. Obviously wet roads, ponding on the roads. Watch for flooding. We had a lot of heavy rain overnight, still some showers likely this morning, and still the yellow light for the PM commute. More showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as well.
Bob, new this morning, Delaware and Maryland attorney generals are joining a coalition of 19 attorney generals in taking legal action against the Trump administration. The group filed 2 lawsuits accusing FEMA and the Department of Transportation of pressing states to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement or risk losing funds. The group argues that these new funding conditions are unconstitutional and will damage the trust between law enforcement and immigrant communities.
Also this morning, DENREC is working on the 2025 Delaware Wildlife Action Plan on native wildlife through the next decade. Key areas of focus is the state's list of species of greatest conservation need, which protects those with declining population and other issues. For the first time, the list includes more than 300 plants, raising the total number needing protection to over 1,000. There will be public meetings on this in July and August.
Burger King plans to remodel hundreds of locations this year. The fast food burger chain is in the process of modernizing its restaurants. USA Today reports Burger King plans to remodel about 400 locations this year and expects to finish remodels at about 2,000 locations by 2028. More than 85% of its U.S. restaurants would then reflect its new modern image with an emphasis on digital ordering.
Google is rolling out a solution to combat those annoying text scams that are on the rise across the country. On Tuesday, Google Messages began updates to the scam text detection technology that's on most Android phones. The improved scam detection will be able to spot hoaxes like the common unpaid toll text. According to the Federal Trade Commission, consumers lost $470 million to text scams in 2024.
It's looking a little foggy on the Spicer Brothers Camp in Salisbury right now in the wake of all that heavy rain last night, so drive with caution this morning. Leave extra time to get to your destination. The unsettled weather continues with a chance of more showers and storms really the next few days, but it does dry out, I think, as we head into the weekend with a warm-up as well. I'll have your forecast details plus the latest rainfall totals coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 5:19, and you're looking live at a muggy situation along the Maryland coast. We're checking out Ocean City, and Bob, we were hit with some heavy rain at our studio here in Milton, and you've been working on how much rain we actually did receive.
Absolutely, Matt. I encountered a lot of that rain driving into work this morning. Those fast wiper blades could not keep up with the torrential rain. It really was coming down. So in the wake of that rain, lots of water out there, ponding on the roads, so be careful. Stockley, that's the highest amount I could find so far, 1.23 inches of rain, 8,500ths in Dagsboro, 7,600ths in Lewis, a little less than that in Georgetown and Bethany Beach at 7,300ths, and a little over half an inch at Indian River Inlet at 5,500ths. And I think there's still more rain on the way with widely scattered showers, I think, later today into Thursday as well. Maybe a little spike in that activity on Friday. And then still a chance of some scattered storms, I think, on Saturday afternoon. But then it starts to dry out a little more as we go into Sunday and Monday, maybe just isolated showers. But boy, were those showers heavy this morning, moving from south to north across the area. And now we're still seeing a scattering of showers from Seaford to Millsboro, Milton as well, but not nearly as heavy as earlier on. We're dry in Salisbury back through Ocean Pines and Newark, but watch for areas of fog and haze, and for the eastern shore, lots of clouds and just some light rain as that heaviest rain is now moving into Philly, up through Jersey as well. We're seeing heavy rain off of Delmarva, even some lightning offshore, as there is a warm front to the south and little gap in the rain. So I think we will have a chance to dry out a little bit today and probably see some sunshine, as we have one area of low pressure across western parts of Virginia and another one across the Ohio Valley, and they're kind of joining forces and keeping our weather very unsettled with all this moisture coming up the East Coast. And it's muggy too. Temperatures into the 60s right now out the door, so just a raincoat, an umbrella, and pack your patience too. With gusty southeast winds, we've been seeing gusts over 30 miles per hour at the coast, so they're beginning to back off now, and they will today, but still kind of breezy this morning. Temperatures in the 60s on Featurecast. I think we do see that dry area, mostly cloudy, some peaks of sun into the afternoon, but with the heating and available moisture, could still see a few showers and storms into the evening hours with 70s inland areas, and then maybe some fog through the overnight and into Thursday morning. Still a chance of some scattered showers with 60s. Thursday, upper 70s, close to 80 degrees, and still that ever-present chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. And we continue that trend later Friday. So Friday evening could be a little stormy for your outdoor activities, and then Saturday afternoon, I think we're looking at more scattered storms. And then Sunday, I think we do start to dry things out, as we do have a marginal or low chance of severe weather today. I think with those storms later, maybe some gusty winds, and we could see an additional maybe half inch to about an inch of rain as we go through the next few days. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, on and off showers and storms essentially through Saturday, upper 70s today, and then 80 Thursday, and then mid 80s Friday and Saturday, and humidity thrown in too. And then Sunday, 81, cooling off into next week behind a cold front. And congratulations to Dennis Jones from Milton on winning an umbrella, and good timing on that from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
All right, thank you, Bob. Happening today, the Back the Blue Caravan will continue its travel across Delaware, handing out snacks and thank you notes to police. The appreciation event began Tuesday. Today, the organization will follow Route 1 and visit agencies in South Bethany, Bethany Beach, Fenwick Island, Dewey Beach, and Rehoboth Beach, along with State Police Troop 7 in Lewis and other departments in Sussex County. Drew Sunderland, who's been putting this together for 7 years, says this is the least they can do to say thank you to the people who protect and serve.
We stand behind our law enforcement officers just like they have our backs every day. And they don't get the credit that they deserve, and this is one way that we can show them gratitude.
The Back to Blue Caravan plans to stop at other locations in Sussex County Thursday to hand out more gifts and treats to police stations.
Next on Coast TV News today, Chincoteague comeback plan. We'll tell you what the town officials are discussing to add to the town. Don't go anywhere. New strategies are underway for improving Chincoteague. First, town leaders are working to register the downtown as a Virginia Historic District. Officials are also hoping to join the state's Main Street program, which would give them access to grants aimed at revitalizing the area. Work to establish a registered historic district has been on pause since the 1990s, but now the town's first city planner in decades is picking up where they left off.
I think having the historic district designation will help us with our Main Street designation, just because there's more resources to protect and things that deserve to be revitalized.
And town officials say the catalog of historic buildings must be compiled and submitted to the state. Someone from the state would then tour the area and establish boundaries before an official designation could be granted. And Matt, it's a rainy day on the coast. You could still go to the beach, maybe shop at the stores, eat at the restaurants.
Plenty of things to do, but Bob, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think we're dealing with a fun stretch of weather here.
No. I mean, let's be honest here. It's not great for outdoor activities, but as Elisa mentioned, maybe grab a bite to eat, do some window shopping. That never hurt. Little retail therapy, but a lot of clouds on the coast, Assateague and Chincoteague. Some peaks of sun, but also maybe some fog this evening and temperatures into the 60s. Watch for some flooding, possibly some minor flooding at time of high tide with this southeast wind. Fenwick Island and Ocean City into the 60s, maybe lower 70s for Fenwick Island. On the Bayside, mid 70s today, some peaks of sun, and mid 70s for Crisfield, as we still have that chance of seeing a shower or storm essentially into a part of the weekend. Much more in your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
After the break on Coast TV News today, Middle East diplomatic dilemma. We'll tell you how the president is responding to concerns surrounding a gift from Qatar.
Also, Fenwick fights offshore wind, how the town is preparing to address now that legal action has been filed in support of the project.
And Sussex education shakeup will tell you the results of Delaware's school board elections on Tuesday. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
The wet pattern continues for Delmarva. We've seen heavy rain overnight. Not as heavy throughout the day, but still a chance of scattered showers and storms into Saturday. And a warm up on the way as well. Details coming up.
Sussex School Showdown. 4 contested races in 3 school districts. Results and reaction from Tuesday's school board election.
Strategic Saudi stop, the positive welcome President Trump is receiving as he starts the first foreign trip of his second term.
Coastline controversy continues. Fenwick Island officials set to take on the wind farm project after Delaware's Attorney General joined a lawsuit in favor of building the turbines.
This is Coast TV News Today.
14th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 5:31. I think I'm still drawing off from my sprint to the. It was a sprint to the door during some heavy rain this morning.
You had to sprint, especially when you're as worried about your hair as we are. I mean,
especially me.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but
I know.
I do have concern.
When I was driving and it was raining, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope Matt is okay. I hope his hair is okay. I was thinking of you.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Bob, did you have any concern about my hair as well?
Of course, Matt. By the way, your hair looks terrific, Matt. I mean, it really did survive the storm just fine. Good morning, Elisa. And yeah, I ran from the car to the door. It was about 30 feet, and I was soaked. So yeah, that was really some rain that came down last night. You can see the radar replay showing all that rain coming through. Still some showers around Georgetown, Seaford, Bridgeville, and Sussex County. We're not seeing the widespread rain like we saw earlier. Salisbury to the coast is drying out, and still some sprinkles across the eastern shore, and heavier rain off of Delmarva now, but the real heavy rain moving into Philly, into New Jersey, as we're seeing a little gap in the activity. And I think we will dry it out for a time today. And I think we actually could see some sunshine with one area of low pressure across the Piedmont and North Carolina, another one across the Ohio Valley, kind of joining forces, bringing all that moisture up the East Coast. We have 60s out the door, gusty winds at the coast, earlier gusting over 30 miles per hour. They are backing off a little bit, but still pretty breezy there. And we do get a break, some fog, some clouds this morning, even some sunshine this afternoon with temperatures into the 70s and maybe a few showers and storms this evening. And on the ferry ride up to Cape May, breezy, probably going to see some whitecaps, but mainly dry, temperatures in the 60s with clouds, but make sure you have your raincoat anyway for a pop-up shower.
Our top story this half hour, we are getting unofficial results from Tuesday's Delaware School Board elections. For Cape Henlopen's District C, it was Patty Mall with the most votes. It was a three-person race between Mall, Laura Parsons, and Andy Lewis. Mall received about 2,000 votes, followed by Parsons with about 1,500 and Lewis with just over 500. Mall says she's planning to focus big on mental health.
My biggest goal is to make sure that our students have advocates, someone that's there for them, especially with our staff too. I really want to make sure we put in a focus on mental health in our district. A lot of our kids are struggling, and we make sure we focus on that and make sure that the teachers have resources so that they can help our students.
And her term will run through June 2028. The District B seat was uncontested, with incumbent Jason Bradley automatically re-elected.
And it appears incumbent Bill Collick will keep his at-large seat. Collick has worked in education for nearly 5 decades. He has served as the at-large board member in Cape since 2020. Unofficial results show Collick defeating Chris Lovengoth by more than 2,000 votes.
There was one contested race in Woodbridge. Let's take a look at those results from Tuesday. This is for the district's at-large seat. Timothy Banks defeated LaToya Harris. Banks received over 77% of those votes.
It's also going to be some new faces on the Indian River School Board. Official results show, or unofficial results actually show, Lisa Hudson Briggs winning the race for the District 1 seat. That was the only contested race there. District 1 includes Georgetown. For District 2, Jerry Pedden Jr. ran unopposed, and Michelle Parsons was also unopposed in District 4.
The latest in the ongoing battle of the construction of a wind farm off of our coast. This morning, Fenwick Island Environmental Committee is having its first meeting since the attorneys general in Delaware and Maryland filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration, arguing the president's executive order to freeze all permitting for both offshore and onshore wind projects is unconstitutional. Ocean City Mayor Rick Meehan and Maryland State Senator Mary Beth Carrozza recently went to Washington to oppose the wind farm, hoping that freeze stays in place.
New overnight, after spending 35 years in prison for the murder of their parents, Lyle and Eric Menendez are now eligible for parole.
The brothers originally received life sentences for shooting and killing their parents at their Beverly Hills home in 1989. CNN's Mary Bell Gonzalez shows us the impacts of this new ruling.
After months of hearings and court filings, a judge resentenced Eric and Lyle Menendez from a term of life in prison with no possibility of parole to now 50 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole. The stunning decision coming after the first day of a hearing where family members testified about the brothers' rehabilitation in prison and support for their release. While the judge said the murders committed by the brothers were horrific, he took into consideration the rehabilitation work the two have done while in prison, including starting a support group for disabled and elderly inmates. Take a listen to what the brothers' attorney said after the judge's ruling.
Because it's 50 to life, they're immediately eligible. On a day like today, that redemption is possible.
The LA County DA did not speak after court today, but DA Nathan Hochman has been very vocal against resentencing at this point. Take a listen to what he said earlier on Tuesday.
Our position is not no, or it's not never, it's not yet. And the reason we said that is that the Menendez brothers have failed to come clean with the full extent of their criminal conduct, their cover-up, their lies, and their deceit over the past 30 years.
The parole board is already scheduled to have a hearing on June 13th as a separate bid by the brothers. Reporting in Los Angeles County, I'm Mary Bell Gonzalez.
And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. While President Trump continues his Middle East trip, Democrats back home are reacting to Qatar's gift of a luxury jumbo jet. In fact, Trump is visiting Qatar today, and controversy is still brewing over the Qatari government's not yet finalized offer of a luxury jet gifted to the Pentagon to serve as Air Force One, then transfers to the Trump Presidential Library at the end of his term. Also hanging over the trip, major real estate projects the Trump organization, led by the president's sons, is developing in the countries he's visiting.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department, and I would say only a stupid person would say that.
There are lots of issues around that I think will attract very serious questions if and when it happens.
And the Senate's top Democrat, Senator Schumer, vowing to put a hold on all judicial nominees until the Attorney General testifies about the gift's legal questions.
We have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, submarine surrender remembrance will tell you how Delaware's coast played a part in bringing forth the end of World War II.
Also, shutout for Sussex Central, the big inning that propelled the Golden Knights to an out-of-conference win.
We salute Captain Jonathan Nordstrom. After nearly 30 years in the fire service, Captain Jonathan Nordstrom has retired from the Dover Air Force Base Fire Department. His journey began with 4 years of service in the U.S. Air Force at Dover Air Force Base, followed by a distinguished career as a firefighter, EMT with the Department of Defense, serving in Colorado, Florida, Virginia, Maryland, and ultimately returning to Dover. In retirement, he plans to share his passion for surfing through teaching and continue creating artwork showcased across the Eastern Shore. We salute Captain Nordstrom for a lifetime of service, dedication, and creativity.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
541 on this damp Wednesday morning. Dry tech cam in Ocean City. You're drying out as far as the rain goes, but still really muggy, 62 right now. We've seen all that rain overnight, but now it's just kind of a scattering of showers across parts of Sussex County from Bridgeville to Georgetown, and then Salisbury to Ocean Pines. Dry there, actually maybe some clearing, and then we're looking at some sprinkles across the Eastern Shore with the heaviest rain offshore and moving to the north now. So I think we do get a little break in the action with some drying as we go through the day, but still have the raincoat and umbrella handy. We could see more showers throughout the day. Drive with caution this morning. That's a lot of water on the roads, big puddles. Pack your patience, but make sure you have your sunscreen and sunglasses. I think we'll see some of that later on. And call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico.
Salisbury is gearing up for its third Friday festivities, and with it comes some road closures. The city says starting at 2 p.m., Main Street from West Market Street to Division Street will be closed. Then Division Street from Route 50 to the Circle will also be closed off for drivers. This Friday event features a local art, music, and vendors in downtown Salisbury centered around a pet theme.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Sussex Central Baseball is one of a few local squads destined for a deep state playoff run. And as they try to shore up their seeding, they took on Caravel last night. Sussex Central hosting Caravel, the Golden Knights hope to pick up their third straight win, and they would start strong in this one. In the bottom of the first, Jace Jarman at the dish. He goes the opposite way. As this one floats, it would drop. He'd take an extra base as that one gets down. He'd score later in the inning thanks to a ground out by Dylan Briggs. 1-0 Sussex Central. Bottom two, Chet Fermanek rips one to right to bring in the second run of the game. 2-0 Golden Knights lead very early on. Later in the inning, Jarman says goodbye baseball. A 3-run jack blows this one open and makes it a 5-0 ball game. He cannot be stopped in this one. Bottom five, Central up 6-0, and they can do no wrong on this game. Luz Perfetti bloops one into right. It gets in another run home, make it 7-0 Golden Knights, and that'll do it. Sussex Central wins it in 6 innings, 10-0. The Golden Knights wrap up the regular season this Saturday against William Penn. That'll do it for sports. Have a great day, everyone.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 5, Game 1 of the Shorebirds doubleheader. The Birds face the Fredericksburg Nationals. Then at 8, it's Game 2. 10:30, we have the final score. And for your DSN Plus exclusives at 4:15, Delaware High School softball when Delmarva Christian visits Delmar. At 7, Archmere Academy takes on Cesar Rodney in boys lacrosse.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And summer movie season is hitting up. We've got your latest looks at 2 action movies, plus your first look at a drama series led by a reality TV legend. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
When you think of me, you should think of fire.
Here's your latest look at Ana de Armas in the John Wick spin-off Ballerina. Keanu Reeves returns from the franchise, along with Angelica Houston, Ian McShane, and Lance Reddick in his final screen appearance. Ballerina opens in theaters June 6th.
What do you ladies think you could possibly hit me with that I haven't seen before?
You're right. Everything we're going to show you today, you should be intimately familiar with.
Kim Kardashian is pausing in her preparations to become a lawyer to play one on TV. Here's your first look at All's Fair, starring Kardashian, Naomi Watts, Niecy Nash, Teyana Taylor, Sarah Paulson, and Glenn Close. The Ryan Murphy legal drama debuts this fall on Hulu.
What the hell, Hutch? On our first day?
A family vacation finds Bob Odenkirk still trying to balance being a family man and a hitman in Nobody 2. Connie Nielsen returns for the action comedy sequel, joined by Christopher Lloyd, Colin Hanks, and Sharon Stone. Nobody 2 is in theaters August 15th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We're drying things out a little bit from that heavy rain overnight, but still wet roads in Salisbury on the Tidal Health Cam overcast skies. And watch for tough travel this morning with some big puddles. I think we will start to see some drying today, but the unsettled weather continues, I think, basically into the weekend with a chance of showers and storms really any time with a warm up as well. I'll have your full forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 5:48, and we are taking a live look outside at Salisbury on this very rainy morning. Bob, definitely have to be careful when you drive in this morning. We were talking about the visibility, and we were talking about how quickly we ran into the building when we got here because it was raining.
Very quickly with those downpours overnight, Elisa. But now the steady rain has moved out, but we are still looking at scattered showers throughout the day and some impressive rainfall totals. Over an inch in Stockley, 1.23 inches there. Dagsboro, 8,500 hundredths, a little over 3/4 of an inch in Lewis. 7,300 hundredths, Georgetown and Bethany Beach and IR Inlet, 5,500 hundredths. And still more rain on the way. I think we're still looking at scattered showers today and tomorrow. Maybe a little uptick on Friday with scattered showers, and then even into the weekend, isolated to scattered on Saturday. But then I think a drying trend Sunday into early next week. But boy, what a soaking last night, almost like tropical-like rains with those downpours. But now that heaviest rain has moved to the north, still seeing a few showers, especially northern Sussex County near Milton and Lewis, Bridgeville as well. Southern Sussex has dried out, but we're still seeing lots of haze and clouds, and it's damp out there. Salisbury to the coast, you're dry now, and it looks like a little bit of light rain for the eastern shore, as the heaviest rain is off of Delmarva now through New Jersey back into the Philly area, and actually a little drying off to our south and west. Will it clear out? Well, that's hard to say, but I think we will see some peaks of sun as we go through the day. So we have one area of low pressure across southwest Virginia with a warm front to the east, and then another area across the Ohio Valley. So it's just a big spin here, and we're on the eastern side with that moisture coming up the east coast. 64 in Georgetown and Millsboro now, 64 in Delmar with 60 in Rehoboth. Definitely damp, and we have been pretty breezy as well. We've seen gusts over 30 miles per hour at the coast, but it is beginning to back off now. Those winds will diminish with time, but still pretty breezy at the coast with some fog, some clouds this morning, and temperatures in the 60s. Still kind of overcast around the noon hour, but then by the afternoon, some sunshine, 70s to near 80 inland areas. With all that moisture and energy hanging around, still a chance of a few showers and storms this evening. Otherwise, kind of foggy, cloudy overnight, and still a chance of a shower through the overnight hours, and still a chance of scattered showers as we go into Thursday with upper 70s to lower 80s inland. Cooler conditions at the beaches and very muggy conditions too. We continue that chance of showers into Friday, maybe some afternoon and evening thunderstorms there. And then Saturday we have Preakness in Baltimore. Could be a little wet for that. Definitely warm and muggy. And on Delmarva, some showers and storms. But then we start to dry things out as we go into Sunday. There is a marginal or low chance of severe weather across much of the area today. meaning that we could see some gusty winds with some storms this evening. And on top of the rain, we've already seen maybe another half-inch to inch of rain between now and the end of the week. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, mild and muggy the next several days. On and off showers and storms into Saturday. Upper 70s today, 80 on Thursday, mid-80s Friday and Saturday. Definitely feeling like summer with the muggy conditions. 81 Sunday, a little cooler and drier into early next week with highs into the 70s.
Thank you, Bob. May 14th is a significant date in history along the coast. 80 years ago, a Nazi German submarine, surrendered to Allied forces off the coast of Lewis. U-boat 858 was one of 6 German subs sent to attack the North American coast in the closing months of World War II in Europe. 4 of those subs were sunk in the early stages of that mission. Another sunk near Rhode Island. 858 first surrendered off the Canadian coast on May 10th. The fate of the submariners played a big role in the decision to order the sub south to Lewis for a second surrender in American waters.
The Germans were taken to a prisoner of war camp. It's why they surrendered to the Americans. They wanted to go to an American prisoner of war camp and not be sent back to Germany by the Canadians.
For several weeks after the surrender, U-858 was docked at what is now the Cape Henlopen State Park fishing pier, where it is toured by people living in Lewis and school children. Later tonight, our special story, Surrender at Sea, looks at how Delaware played a role in the final days of World War II. You can catch that during Coast TV News at 6.
And the time is now 5:53, so we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet of the day is on fire. That is Blaze right there on your screen. Blaze is 10 months old and was submitted to us by Barbara in Georgetown.
Aw, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
On your screen, there's that QR code top center. Scan that, get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. We'll be right back.
It is 5:56. We're going to take another quick look at our very rainy forecast this morning.
It is a rainy forecast, and Bob, it seems like it's a heavier rain than what we experienced all of yesterday.
Well, and the good news is that real heavy rain that we experienced coming into work is now to the north and east. So we're still looking at a lot of clouds, some fog this morning, lots of puddles. Drive with caution, pack your patience. I think we'll see some peaks of sun throughout the day and maybe another round of showers and storms later on in the day. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 78 today with those afternoon and evening storms, and still that chance of storms pretty much for the rest of the week and right into a part of the weekend. 80 on Thursday, mid-80s Friday and Saturday, and with humidity too. Going to feel like summer. It does cool off a little bit on Sunday, mostly sunny, 81 degrees. Then I think we do cool off and dry out a little bit into next week, mostly sunny on Monday, 78, then mid-70s Tuesday through Thursday with a mix of sun and clouds and lows into the 50s.
Bob, coming up in our next hour, turbine tensions rise. The next step in Fenwick Island after Delaware's Attorney General joined a lawsuit supporting the wind farm project for our coast. That and more when Coast TV News Today continues.